What's going on, gang, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at how you can make your kicks absolutely punch through the mix. And this will work in any DAW that you have. It's going to be a couple of plugins that we're going to be using. But anyways, let's get right into it. Alright guys, here's a little demo of what the kick sounds like in the mix, and then we're going to be actually building this from scratch with a completely different kick, just so you guys can see that this method is going to work for any kick that you're using. So this is what we're dealing with right now. Alright guys, so let's start building this with a different kick. So I'm going to be using the No Mercy kick from my drum kit. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and remove the part of the kick that makes it sound a little bit boxy in the mix. So I'm going to throw an EQ on here, and we're going to go ahead and zoom around for that frequency. I usually tend to find it around the 500 to 600 hertz range. Now it could depend, but it's not going to be too far above or below that value. So let's just go ahead and take a quick look here. And we're going to solo the kick for this. Okay, so really quick before we do that, I'm noticing that the kick is hitting 7 above. So let's go ahead and just drop that down so it's not so crazy, because we're going to be adding a lot of stuff to it already, so we don't need it to quite hit that hard. So if your kick is hitting above 0, go ahead and turn that down to around 0 or somewhere around there. Let's see how this is. Okay, so now it's hitting just a tiny bit over 0. That's completely fine. Okay, so now let's go ahead in there and find that boxy little tone. And like I said, it's usually going to be around 500 to 600, plus or minus a little bit maybe. So I'm finding it right around here. That little clicky sound, but it sounds kind of caged in. So what we're going to do is we're just going to back it off, maybe -3 or something like that. Just get rid of it just a little bit. It's going to help that kick sound a little bit cleaner when it hits. So by the way, if you're not wearing headphones, you might want to throw on the headphones for this one so you can hear each iteration of each plugin that we're going to be putting on it, because each one makes it sound slightly better, but it might be hard to tell if you have some crappy speakers or if you have like giant monitors. It might be hard to tell as well. But anyways, so this is what it sounds like now. And without it, it sounds like this. And we'll add it. So it's just tightening it up ever so slightly, kind of getting rid of that boxy tone that comes from kicks. So for this method, we're going to be using 2 different clippers. That's right, I said 2 different clippers. Every single clipper out there has a different tone of its own, and you can go ahead and pick your favorite clippers to use for this one, or you can follow the plugins that I'm using, but just know that the ones that I'm using you don't have to follow to a T. Just go ahead and find the ones that you like to use or you think sound best, and then you can use those as well. So I just got this plugin. It's the Cymatics Diablo. I've been hearing great things about it, so I decided to pick it up. And for this one, we're really going to be turning everything else off and just sending a little bit through the clipper. So I have a little preset right here that I use that turns everything off. So you can see the boost is off, the punch is off, everything is off right here except for the clip, and the magnitude's all the way up. So the clip, I put it up to about 8, but this is going to depend. So this is where we're going to need to tweak it depending on the kick. And then the low, I also boost this a little bit too, if it needs more low range. So let's start off at 0 here, and let's play with the clip a little bit and see and get it to a good level. We want it to be very, very clean, but we want to add a little bit of grit to it at the same time. So we got to be careful not to add too much. So that sounds about right to me. I ended up doing about 11 on the clip. Now let's play with this low end. We might just boost it a tiny bit, or we might boost it a little bit more. So let's put it up to 1. I think 3 dB sounds good for the low in this case. So that's literally all we're using this for. We're boosting the low range just a little bit, and we're also sending it through the Diablo clipper, which sounds really, really good. Okay, that's literally all we're doing with this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and find a transient shaper plugin that will go ahead and kind of boost the kick so that it punches a little bit better and boosts those transients in it as well. So there's all kinds of different transient plugins, so pick whichever one you like to use. For this example, I'm going to be using the Kilohertz transient shaper here. And I'm just going to be playing with the attack just to make it a little bit sharper. So I just turned it up about 14%, just a little bit. So without it and with it. Here's without it. And with it. Just lets it snap and hit through a little bit cleaner. Okay, now let's go ahead and throw another EQ on here, and we're actually going to boost the transient in the spot that we like it to kind of make it hit just a little bit nicer and sound a little bit more of like a kick, like a nice transient. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this frequency knob now that we got a little bit of a curve here, and we're going to kind of go through and see where it sounds really good. Okay, right at about 866, it sounded pretty good to me. Let's turn it off and on. So you can see that it makes it just more of a solid sound, and you can hear more of the tone from the kick altogether. Alright guys, so we're almost done. I know this is crazy and we're doing quite a bit, but we only have one more step, and we're going to put on our last clipper. Alright, we're going to be using the K clip by Kazrog for this one. This is a newer plugin that I picked up along the way, and I really like it. And we're going to be using this crisp mode on here. And we're just going to be boosting it ever so slightly so that it has that clippy sound, but it's not destroying the kick. That's going to be really important here. So this is the clipper that we're really pushing. The other one that we use from the Cymatics Diablo, we're just adding a little bit of low end and just initially sending it through the clipper just a little bit. This is going to put the finishing toppings on all of it. It's going to take everything else that we've done up to this point and clip it into its final form. So let's see what would sound good here. We're going to start playing with this in right here. You can see that it just destroys it way too much. So we're going to definitely back it down quite a bit here. Okay, so I think that 2 sounds really, really good. Let's go up and down a little bit just to make sure it's perfect. Nope, I like it right at 2. It sounds really good to me there. And that's literally all we need to do. So without this one, it sounded like this. And with it, you can tell it just spices it up and it gives it that extra little bit of clippiness without going crazy. Because once you, like literally, if we just go up like 1 more decibel, it sounds fine there, but it's a little too clippy for me personally. So right around 2, it makes the sound full without it actually being like a super clippy, distorted kick sound. And then you can use the out here to adjust this however much you want if you want to go ahead and back down it at all. But I think we're good, honestly, with this. So let's listen to how it sounded before and after everything. So let's go ahead and group this. And this is without any of the effects. And this is with everything. Alright, so are you ready to hear it in the mix? Let's just hear it with the 808 first. Now we can hear it in the mix all together. So the kick sounds super clean, hits really hard above everything else, and stands out above everything else more importantly. So anyways guys, that is how you can go ahead and clip your kick, mix it down, and make it sound as best as you possibly can using a couple different plugins. And like I said, if you don't have these exact same ones, just use the ones that you have at your disposal. It'll work perfectly fine and you'll get the hang of it right away. It takes a couple times before you get it down. But it's a really good process, and I think this is gonna level up your guys' kicks immediately. So anyways guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're uploading gems like this all the dang time that you're not going to want to miss out on. Also, please smash that like button for me if you like this one. We're almost to 5K subs, and once we get there, we're upgrading the camera quality like crazy, and I can't wait to start using it. My camera's over there. I haven't opened it yet. Not allowed to open it until we hit that 5K, so every like on this video is going to help us get that much closer to the end. And besides that, guys, I'll be catching you again in the next one. Peace out.